Hey guys, how we doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm working on the Ranger here, digging into the power steering pump system. This thing still been kind of fighting power steering whine on it. I've tried bleeding it a bunch of different times and thought I had it fixed, and it persists, I guess. A lot of times when you fire it up in the morning when you first start it up, it sounds fine. You don't really hear much, but as you use it and it warms up a little bit, the power steering whine gets quite loud. Mostly not so much when you're steering, but definitely when you hit the brakes, because this has got Hydroboost on it. So I've tried bleeding it a bunch of different times, kind of from different spots, and nothing seems to help with that. You can kind of tell too that with the braking system, it just doesn't feel the same way that most Hydroboosts that I've driven feel. It's got a pretty firm, solid pedal when you really want to stomp on the brakes. So I don't know if that's maybe my brake, not the brake booster, the master cylinder, or if it's the combination of the wrong master cylinder with the different brake calipers or something, or if it's air in the system. I've been trying to do a bunch of research, trying to figure out just what's going on with this thing. And from what I'm thinking, I talked to a few guys. Actually, I talked to one down at Holly Ford Fest, and also I work on a lot of newer GMC or Chevy full-size pickups and Dodge full-size pickups. So I've been kind of looking to see how they are designed, how they have their plumbing designed and everything. But what I want to try is, I think I may have a restriction on my return side. Talking to a guy down at the Holly Ford Fest, he was telling me that I run -6 lines from the pump here, which pumps here, that the power or the outlet pressure side is on the bottom here. This right here would be the return side, but I have a -6 running up here to feed everything, and then everything else is -6 going back. He was telling me he always runs a -8 and he doesn't have any problems. One issue there, I kind of looked into doing that, running -8s, basically returned from the Hydroboost and also from the power steering rack down there, and running it back to the tank here. And it's just, I was hoping to find like -6 on one end and then -8 on the other, that I could, or have the -8 hose, but somehow adapt it to a -6, so I don't have to go through finding fittings and all that other stuff here. I may still end up having to do that and go to a -8 on all this stuff. But I think what I'm going to try and do here is, you can see down here, so my feed line comes up to the Hydroboost. Then from there, the one pressure line goes through the Hydroboost and down to the power steering rack, and then it returns from there. And then also I have my Hydroboost return coming down here. So both the power steering rack and the Hydroboost return to that little T right there. You can kind of see where that elbow comes to it. And if you are going to do some sort of setup like that, you want to make sure that it's not a definite T fitting. This is more of a Y, so both lines are kind of facing the same way. If you have a T and one's kind of deadheading, you could have pressure going forward and back, and it's not supposed to. So that's why I ended up switching from a T to that, trying that, and that didn't seem to make any effect. I could try and go with a -8, maybe from there all the way back to the tank, and I may end up doing that too. But I think for right now, my easiest setup is that, because I don't know if I found a Y that goes from two -6s to a -8. I think they're all the same size when you look them up. But for me, it's going to be probably easiest just to take those two lines and just adapt one into the, for the Hydroboost and the other one for the steering rack, and just make two return lines that are -6 all the way back here. Now, I originally had all this set up because, well, it was a -6 pressure line and a -6 return line. So you figure, whatever's coming out of there should be the same amount that's got to go back in. So you wouldn't really think that you'd have too many restriction problems, because whatever's leaving the pump is going to have enough room to get back too. But when I was looking at some of those newer Dodges and newer Chevys, I think the Chevys actually have 2 return lines, and that's kind of why I'm going with this setup, because they have the same pressure line feeding the Hydroboost, but then when it comes back, they split off. You know, they have 2 return lines back to the reservoir. Dodge does a little different. I think they run a bigger return line, and in a lot of instances, yeah, you do notice that a return line or a return hose will always be a little bit bigger than the pressure side. You see that with cooling. You see that sometimes with AC. Now AC is a little different because it's changing from a gas to a liquid, but you do see that the return side is always bigger. So I think that's maybe my mistake here, is that I didn't put a big enough, you know, return line on here. So what we're going to try and do is get this off, split it right there basically, and then just run my 2 separate return lines all the way back to the reservoir. Now this tank only has the 1 fitting right there for the return. So I'm going to actually have to pull this pump off. I'm hoping I can pull this reservoir off of the pump itself, and then I'm going to try and weld in a bung there so I have a return line. So I have 2 actually, but it's going to be pretty tight in here. You can see it's up against the head here, so I'm going to kind of have to go down a little bit further, and you'll be able to see it when I pull it off, but I'm going to have to go just a little bit lower on there, and I think I already have it marked where I want to put it, but I'm going to try and get that welded on there and then just run 2 return lines and see if that helps. If it doesn't, I may have to go to a -8 or something lines, but then I might have to upgrade all those fittings, even the bungs that are welded on there, to a -8. So hopefully I can just go with an extra -6 return line, so there's 2 of them, and then I'll take care of my issues. You can definitely tell when you drive it, it feels like that pedal is just firm as can be. Now maybe, like I said, maybe I got my master cylinder wrong. Maybe I resized that too big or too small. So you have different piston sizes that you can get. So, from what this is probably one of my easiest upgrades to do for now, and just see if it makes a difference. So I'm going to give that a try. I'll get this pump off of here and see if I can't get that welded on there. All right, you can see I got the pump off of it. I got the reservoir unbolted from the side of it. There's just basically 2 bolts that hold it on there. There's a small O-ring there that goes on there and seals it up. I already got it kind of marked it in the truck as far as where I want it. I want to be able to put the fitting there. I don't have a whole lot of room to go on this side because of the coolant hose running past here. And then on this side I have the cylinder head. The cylinder head kind of sticks over the top just a little bit. And I kind of wanted to go in this spot here, but with this bolt being through here and all welded up in here, it would be kind of tight in here. So I just moved it up to right there. That should be a decent spot, but both my hoses have to come kind of down the side here. So what I did is got a couple bungs. I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to run, so I picked up a male bung here and then a couple different female bungs like that that I'll probably weld in. The male bung, like this one here, if I was to weld that on there and all of a sudden I need to switch to, you know, a different size or something, I would have to cut it off, re-weld something on there. If I went with the female one here, there is enough meat here where I could probably drill this bigger and tap it to the next size fitting bigger. So that's what I'm probably going to do. I'll just drill that hole right there and weld that on, make sure this is all clean welded on. And then I'm going to just take, most likely take a 90 here. I could either put a 90 with a straight hose or a straight fitting with a 90-degree hose. This will probably be the most shallow, so it's closest to the tank. And then I think this hose will come up kind of up over the top of it because this has a 90-degree bend on the hose fitting on there. So this one should be able to go over the top a little bit, and then this one will kind of stay below it. And then I'll just have the 2 hoses coming to here. And then I can reattach it back to the pump here and try that out. But I'll get that drilled open here and get that welded in. All right, the bung is all welded in now. I went and put my fitting in there. I got the tank thoroughly cleaned out of metal shavings and all that debris that was in there from me messing around. Got it reattached to the pump here. We'll get it back in the truck, get some fluid in it, get it bled, and then we can kind of figure out and see if it's going to help or not. All right, got my new line made up. I'm going to get it installed in the truck here real quick and get the system bled, and then we'll try it out and see if it made a difference. lot of air in the system yet. Still trying to get all that bled out. I think I got a little bit more air in the system that got to get bled out. I want to actually road test it to see if it's still in there. But I think most of it's out, but we'll have to take it for a little test. In the meantime, I had a couple other things I wanted to mess with. I have a real tiny little pinhole leak in my transmission. That's been there for a long time. You can see I of the cross member out right now, but I got that repaired. It was where I put a bung in it for the temperature sensor. Kind of where I had sealed it up or welded it up. There's just a tiny little pinhole there, so I wanted to get that fixed, so I got that all done. And then also I figured I might as well just put these brakes on it here. So these are off the Fox body that I just got done taking off. Let me get the light on there. So I just got done taking these off the Fox body after I did the IRS swap on it. These are basically, this setup was for an 8.8 rear end, which this is. So it was more or less just a bolt-on application for it. So everything bolted on. This is actually the only difference that I had to do is I had to buy a different rotor hat because that was a 4-lug. You can see Wilwood does not make this anymore. So I'm gonna, I don't know, hang on to it for whatever reason, but all I had to do was order new hats, bolt it onto the same rotor. So I'm just gonna reuse the same rotor. There's nothing wrong with it. There's life on the pads left yet, so I just figured I'm just gonna run everything. It's a kind of match set right now anyway, so everything bolted up. I kind of cleaned it up best I could. I'm just waiting for a couple of brake hoses. I thought I was going to be able to reuse the ones that were on here, but they're a little bit too short now just because of the way it was connected back here. So I just got to wait for those to come in. These are a little bit bigger rotors than what was on here. The other ones were 11 1/4, I think, diameter. These are just over 12, so like 12.19. So that'll help. So yeah, I'm hoping, really kind of getting excited just to see how much better these will work. Right, Ranger's back down on the ground now. I got all the brakes bled back here and everything assembled. So that should all be wrapped up back here. I'm actually going to take it for a quick test drive. Weather turned really nice here in Minnesota, so I went and said, screw it, I'm going to put insurance on it for the summer and take it out. I'm hoping that the extra power steering line that I added in the front here is going to take care of that. There still might be a little bit of air in the system yet that it has to work its way out, but for the most part, I think I got that all bled. So I'm going to fire this thing up and see if anything helped or not. All right, so far I still hear a little bit of whine. The brakes, I can tell, work way better. Like I'm doing about 55 right now. She comes to a complete stop there, so brakes are working great. I don't get the feedback that I used to on the pedal when I would hit the brakes. So it definitely helped having two separate return lines for each one. The only time I hear that the power steering whining is at idle, kind of when you're just sitting there, like if you'd be at a stoplight or something and you have your foot on the pedal holding the brakes. Otherwise, not until you get into that low RPM on the engine do you hear that whining. So I don't know if that pump got a little bit wore out just from having too much back pressure in the return line. Maybe it's wore a little bit from using it like that for a year or two. But I'm going to call that a win until I get some more road time on this thing this summer to see how it is. But the power steering is fine. I don't hear any whining doing that. Before, when you would apply the brakes and steer at the same time, you definitely hear a you know, you'd hear the pitch change in the pump, that it was working harder and stuff. So it's definitely way better. But like I said, I'm happy with that so far. I do plan on putting, even though the brakes are working great right now, I would like to go with bigger rotors on the front. So I might be able to, I don't know if I'll be able to reuse the calipers, but I'll have to put different, I want to go with bigger rotors in the front, because right now the rears are bigger than the fronts. And this thing, yeah, she definitely clamps down. This truck is too much fun, man. Would love to put a Whipple on this thing on top of that motor, but not that I won't. It's just a lot of money. Right now this thing is a lot of fun, so still trying to get some of these quirks worked out of this truck after the big build of putting that motor in and tranny and all that stuff, the suspension. So just trying to get this thing dialed. Yeah, we're getting closer. So got a couple more projects to do on this thing. Alright guys, well this is going to wrap this video up. Lesson learned here, I guess, is just make sure if you're putting in power steering or Hydroboost like that, make sure you got a big enough return line or multiple return lines so you don't have this issue. But like I said, there still might be a little air in the system that has to come out, but for the most part, that upgrade definitely helped. So, alright guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you later.